All right, another day, another Scream Factory 4K. Let's talk about it. What is up, everybody? I hope you are all having a fun, spooky season. I unfortunately have not been. It's been a lot of studying and homework, so that's why you've noticed, compared to the other previous years, I was pumping out content because I love the spooky season. I just love delving into everything horror and Halloween, but I have to focus on school, so that's why I've been kind of loafing on the videos. But I wanted to get this out here because I recently picked up the new Scream Factory 4K release. That is Night of the Demons on 4K Blu-ray. I heard some pretty good recommendations for it. It's a fun little rompy kind of Halloween movie, so I wanted to discuss it. I didn't realize see anybody really talking about this 4K release, so I wanted to get my opinions out there because I just love nerding out about 4K Blu-rays. So enough dilly-dallying, let's get into Scream Factory's release of Night of the Demons. Alright, so this is a 2-disc UHD collector's edition set. This comes with a very nice looking slipcover, comes with a region-free 100 triple layer disc with audio commentaries, and then it does come with a region A BD 50 dual layer disc with audio commentaries and a bulk of bonus features, both from the previous release and some new ones. This does have a Dolby Vision HDR10 presentation. It is in 1.85 by 1. When it comes to the audio formats, you get a new English DTS HD Master Audio 5.1, as well as a new English DTS HD Master Audio 2.0 stereo, as well as the previous 2.0 stereo soundtrack from the previous Steelbook and Blu-ray release. So let's get into it, starting off with the image quality. You know me, for my 4K reviews, I like to do image quality, the HDR. So image quality basically is how sharp is it, how nice is the detail. Then we get into the HDR, about the colors, the contrast, as well as the black and white levels, and then we get into the audio. So starting off with the image quality, this 4K release from Scream Factory does boast a new 4K scan of the original camera negatives in Dolby Vision for the uncut version, which is also ported onto the Blu-ray that it does come with. The previous release from Scream Factory themselves, I believe, was only a 2K scan, or so they claim. I've read in a few outlets from different websites that the scan is the exact same, but they could be wrong. I could be wrong. There's some confusion about that. I just wanted to point that out there just in case anyone was wondering about that. But it is a decently, noticeable upgrade from that previous release. The uptick in sharpness is fantastic. Clothing details such as stitch and patchwork look great. The facial details such as stubble, wrinkles, imperfections are pretty good. And I will say that it still looks like a low-budget B movie, but this new clarity with this native 4K transfer adds so much more charm to the film, as makeup effects are on full display here. Again, grain is prevalent, as it always was, but it's definitely a lot better here with an added, 50 more gigs, right, of data to work with, feeling a lot less compressed and having a more natural kind of filmic feeling when it comes to the grain structure. I will say, though, that this isn't a perfect transfer. The quality from the uncut source material is noticeable, as shots can look super grainy and super soft. If you've seen that Silent Night, Deadly Night Blu-ray and it has that 4K scan of, I think it was a 4K scan, or it could be like a new remaster, when they use the uncut shots, when it looks like uncut, it's not that bad in this scenario, but you can really tell which kind of film prints have been more preserved as compared to the uncut, scenes, because those weren't, intentionally meant to be seen by the public. That's why they're uncut, or why those shots were cut out. But overall, I feel like this is the best it'll ever look. There are some instances, again, of film specs and degradations, but again, being a low-budget horror film, this was not, it was of such a cult status, I assume not much would be done to make it pristine as humanly possible. But this is definitely the best image quality we'll get from, from the film negatives. This isn't like a lazy aspect on their part. Obviously, there could be more done to it, but for what it is, a good 4K scan, this is what you're getting out of it. And then when it comes to the HDR, it has Dolby Vision presentation. Black levels are inky, but unfortunately, it is to a fault, as there is quite a bit of detail crush. And then when comparing to the original Blu-ray release from like, I think 2014, I think, and then they released it for like a Steelbook, the 2017 version, it's quite dark, like substantially darker. So if you're not a fan of, transfers, you're really gonna hate this. If you didn't like Heat because of that reason, you're gonna have the same kind of feeling. Lights and flames look quite dull in comparison to the Blu-ray, which was sad because when it's done right, with inky blacks mixed with a retention of detail and then light levels that can make you wince and because you feel really immersed, it really makes the 4K immersive experience. Like Paramount's Friday the 13th 4K release. If you know me, I didn't really give that much praise, but I did, give it some instances where, black levels look great with detail and then, really bright white levels. Here, it isn't much the case. It seems like they kind of dulled it down when it comes to, I guess, the brightness of it. So things that should normally be piercing doesn't really convey that much. Sadly, it's not really the case here. The film itself was already a pretty dark film, but the added Dolby Vision doesn't really do it any favors. But as a person who watched it on an OLED TV at the dead of night with the lights closed and everything with the perfect settings, I didn't really have the hardest time retaining any detail. But that's the best case scenario. If you have like an LCD screen, LED screen, if it's not OLED, you probably won't be getting much information out of it because it is so much darker. And if you're not going to be having that really deep black levels of like a mini LED or an OLED, you're going to see a lot gray and it's not really going to look that great. It isn't all a misstep when it comes to Dolby Vision, as the color grading in general is a lot better and more natural feeling. Skin tones are more rosy and the nuances of makeup stand out, and it overall has a better contrast. So let's talk about the audio. There is no Dolby Atmos, but there is a new 5.1 soundtrack, the older 2.0 soundtrack, and a new 2.0 mix. And overall, it's decent, but I do have to warn you that I experienced prevalent sync issues towards the end of the film, which kind of did sour my experience when watching this, as this was like a first time watch for me. But it was brief enough of an occurrence to where I really didn't, rage and request a refund as I've done with previous other releases. It is weird though, seeing these really simple mistakes not caught from quality assurance, especially for such an expensive boutique release. Like here in Canada, these Scream Factories go for $34, $37 before tax. So I know I've gotten comments like, yeah, well, I got it for $15 on the used market. Well, that's not indicative of what Scream Factory is expecting from their return, right? They're going to have a certain quality and they're going to expect a certain amount of money back from it. I know that, I know it's really expensive to produce 4Ks and that kind of stuff, but I'm just saying in the general market of things, especially, when comparing to other things like Criterion, even though Criterion has such high regards, when it comes to things, the prices are kind of getting similar at this end. But it's just weird to see, really basic, did anyone watch a final cut of the transfer and say, hey, look, at the end of it, there's an obvious scene cut. Hey, there's a lot of film degradations. Maybe we should do something. It wasn't really here. But this is prevalent in both of these new transfers. So both the new 2.0 and the new 5.1. But the other track I noticed was fine, which is the same 2.0 soundtrack that came from that original release, which was just a port. So now I do want to get into some of the bonus features because that is why you're paying for this collector's edition, $30+. When it comes to the bonus features, you do get all of the previous featurettes and commentaries, as well as a new 35-minute interview with the film's writer, a new conversation with new contortions and coffins. HD 18-minute is an interview with actor Jill Terashita. New The Perfect Font 9-minute interview in HD with special effects artist Nick Benson, which was really cool and very informative. And it's cool that it comes with a new 90-minute international cut, but it is sadly in standard def, but it is definitely a cool featurette. So overall, the price to presentation ratio, I would give this about a 7 out of 10, maybe a 7.5 with like some pretty cool bonus features. It's a good looking disc, but based on the circumstances, it didn't really blow me away. You know, it is definitely the lesser of these new Scream Factory releases, which have been bangers, by the way, they've provided us in these previous years. You know, again, when talking about lower budget horror flicks, that kind of thing, it still does well. You know, if you're a fan of this film, I'd say like it was worth a pickup, but definitely it's not really a blind buy, especially for the price. I know there's a sale going on right now, so if that's under 30 bucks maybe, but like there's a lot more Scream Factory Horror 4Ks that are demo worthy. This isn't really demo worthy, but I would say this is probably the best presentation you will get if you are a fan of this film. And I heard the other ones are just standard Blu-ray releases. So anyways, those were just my opinions. We are all subjected to our own opinions. So if you thought differently, let me know down below, and let me know if you picked this up and you like it. But anyways, that was today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did enjoy it, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I am Mason from the Mockbuster YouTube channel. Please have yourself a good day, night, evening, afternoon, morning. Whenever you're watching this, please stay safe and God bless. Peace, cheers, long and physical media. See you guys. Ka-chow.